Do males need to treat this differently to females? Is it the same but different, or is it a very different approach? Or
Presence is something that everyone has. Whatever presence it is. Your energy, the young people call it the vibe, but like that presence, that energy, what you exude, everyone has that, both male and female, okay?
welcome to the Find Your Influence podcast with Anton Guinea, where we unpack all things influence and we help leaders particularly find their influence by talking to amazing humans and finding out what influence means to them, who they've been influenced by and who they have influenced. And this podcast episode, proudly sponsored by the Guinea Group of Companies. The Guinea Group helps leaders upgrade, upskill, uplift their teams and their influence. So for all our listeners and viewers out there, if Yulia and I say something like, as we talked about last week, you will know that I forget to push the record button. And it's not the first time, but Yulia has been kind enough and forgiving enough to come back on our podcast again for the second time. Now, Yulia is an amazing human. Yulia Seijkens, UK-based luxury fashion and image consultant who specialises in helping leaders, executives, and high impact, now I like that, high impact professionals to elevate their presence through strategic style. Now, the reason that I asked Yulia to come on is because Yulia recently wrote a book called Style to Influence. And Yulia blends aesthetics with personal branding psychology, which I'm really intrigued by, to help clients cultivate a powerful, influential, and visual identity. Yulia Seijkens, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, so welcome. And I actually also won an award here in UK, Style and Apparel Awards, like Best Luxury Consultant 2025. So why don't we put it out there? It's yeah, it just happened.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Well done. It's always great to get business awards, and it's such a great recognition of all of the contribution that you've made to the amazing execs out there. And so what does that award mean to your business, Yulia?
Well, I think, like as you said earlier, it's a recognition, right? I mean, the reason, like when they reached out to me that I was nominated, and the reason that they've provided is, according to them, is the type of, like, the style, basically the style of my business, how I style. So it's just the approach to how I go about my things and with clients, and that's something that they found very unique and very different, especially when it comes to luxury. So it's a recognition. I mean, to be really honest, I don't want to say like I don't care about it. I don't really care, but it's just more for people. Maybe if they see it, they'll be like, oh, it's just how it works, isn't it? I know what I do. I know what I know. But
I think it's great for your brand. We're really proud. We've got some business awards, and I just think it's huge. It's just credibility. It's a credibility piece to say that the work that you have done has been recognised by people that have judged entries and that have looked at your work and said that it's upper class. So congratulations. I think I'd be very proud of that.
Thank you.
So talk me through it. So what does make the Yulia Seijkens work special? What does that luxury piece look like? And how do you style someone for luxury, Yulia?
Well, I wouldn't say like for luxury, like, because obviously what I do and what my focus is, it's really leveling up your presence. Okay, so level up. So even if someone who, like, it's like, what is luxury, right, to begin with? And even if someone who, let's say, has a lot of money, okay, has so much money that they can not spend them in 10 lifetimes, and they still haven't got the style. So it's to level up. Like, I'll give you an example. Not too long ago, a few months ago, I met a prince from Saudi Arabia, and and it's really funny because he literally wore just one brand Fendi all over, everything Fendi, 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 Fendi. So he has all the money in the world to like buy anything, like to buy anything, buy brands if he wishes to. But he doesn't, and I've heard it a lot actually, especially in particular with, Middle Eastern, people have so much money and they have traditional wear. So it's already stated what they wear. But when they go to the West, for example, they have no idea how to style themselves and they just like go to brands because like, well, it's a brand and it's established. So he for example, he would just buy the whole collection. He would spend quarter of a million to buy the whole collection. I think, until his socks and probably underwear. Like I think he wears the whole thing Fendi. So and I spoke to him and I discussed, like, okay, we can definitely level up, like we don't have to see Fendi written all over you. So my point is, it's not just about like styling into the luxury because it's really about leveling up someone's presence. So regardless of how much money you have or what position you have, but if you really want to level up your appearance, your presence, your overall presentation, it depends on what goals you have, what field you're in, what you try to achieve, the kind of version that you want to become. This is where I come in to build the bridge from where you are currently and to where you wish to go. So, I wouldn't say like, oh, luxury, because again, luxury, people can go so wrong in luxury. Well,
Beautifully put. Level up your presence, your presentation based on your goals, and there's sort of this journey or this bridge from here. Um, Yulia, that's amazing. So you talked about presence. Now, to me, the book that you wrote was Style to Influence, and to me, I guess presence is influential. How you show up. So what's the, I guess the overview of the book in relation to how someone dresses, how they do show up, and how that influences others to a degree.
in so many ways. I mean, it's such a powerful tool. And again, I think that's one of the reasons why my business won an award is because I use styling as a tool, as a strategic tool. And I think I'm probably one of the few, I guess, well, at least here in UK, because I was chosen as the winner, because I don't just do like, oh, just dress up and you look cute and da 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 da, but I actually use it as a strategic tool because I'm someone who I love to achieve. I love to help people to achieve their goals. And because it's something that I've understood from a very early age, how what you wear, how you put yourself out there, how you speak, how you walk, how you move, how you walk into a room, that it will do something to your surroundings, how they will perceive you. And it's an unspoken silent language. So it's really something that you actually tell people about yourself without having said a word. So it's something that I've understood from, again, I've been on stage since I was 6 years old. Used to wear costumes and do my makeup, and it looked ridiculous at 6 years old, you do your makeup. But anyway, I was doing like, professional performing and singing and dancing and show business and movies and modeling. And so I knew how much impact it has. For example, as a talent, you go around places and then, there's like tables full of agents and talent kind of people who are looking for talent, and you walk around with your picture and just the way you look and literally how you put yourself out there, your presence, it's in that instant, that millisecond will determine whether they will look up at you or just look at your photo and just like go next, next, next. Like I'm used to that kind of harsh, quick environment, castings and where you go and just whether you leave an impression or not. So because I know how powerful it is, and it took me also many years to really learn the skill and to really hone that and create my own, and then now being able to transfer that to people, people who are ready, people who understand. And so Style to Influence, the book, it's really to help people to understand that, because I feel like you have to understand first how it can be used as a strategic tool, so that then you'll open up your mind to it and be like, uh-huh, okay. Because a lot of people, they just they think it's a luxury. They think it's like, oh, I'm fine as I am. But again, it's like, if you want to level up, and I'm talking about leveling up in your business, maybe your personal relationships, maybe you want to, I don't know, like, get married and find some partner. It goes in everything, right? Find new friends, or just, have people trust you, get new clients, your audience. So, yeah.
Amazing. I love it. I'm so glad we did this a second time. This
I know
is.
you love the background, don't you? You love
I
the
do.
background.
I know.
Hmm.
I know. I love the Christmassy stuff, but I love your take on it now. I think when we spoke last, you sort of refined it, but I think now you've just really nailed those definitions and those
Right.
explanations are so good. Um, it's been on stage since 6 and been critiqued for your appearance your whole life, basically.
Yes.
Wow. Go you. Now, let me ask you, with a male perspective, with a male hat
Yes.
on, just for a moment, can you, yeah, and you talked about meeting a prince. Do males need to treat this differently to females? Like, is it the same but different, or is it a very different approach? Or
In a way, the presence, it's something that everyone has. Whatever presence it is, your energy, your kind of, the young people call it the vibe. So, but like that presence, that energy, the what you exude, everyone has that, both male and female. Okay. So in that regard, it's the same thing. However, the approach to men and women, of course, is different, because men fundamentally has a whole different energy about them, right? And it's a whole different idea, or like, men and women are different, and that's beautiful. And I love that. So I focus, of course, getting the male to their kind of like highest level possible. And for the woman is completely different. So the energies are very different, right? So the way they show up will be very different. But the whole thing about the presence is the same, because both of them have presence. It just depends on what kind of presence they have.
hmm. And that presence, when you say presence, that's where you mean the vibe. Like when you walk into a room, are you vibing? Can you vibe? Have you got a vibe? Is that what you mean by presence to a degree, like the energy you bring?
Yeah, I think you've mentioned it in the first time we've spoken. I think you've mentioned there are two types of people. Uh, if I'm correct, if I remember correctly, but one type of person walks into a room and light up the place, and the second type of person leaves the room and light up the place. So you better be the first person. Did you say that? Did I remember it correctly?
Perfect, word for word. Great
Okay, good.
memory. Great memory.
I
Oh,
have a great memory. Yes, I
you
do that.
do. Well done.
I listen to what you say.
You do. Well done. Great. Yeah, and it's a powerful concept, isn't it? Be that person that lights the room up when you walk in, and I love that. And what really you help us to do, or your clients to do, is to have that very impact on others. That when you walk in, and people notice you.
Absolutely. That's really and then of course notice you in the ways that you wish for them to notice you. So that's again, it's the message that you want to communicate about yourself to people without even having said, hi, my name is, like nothing. So, and this is the thing, right? It's like, and a lot of people are communicating a message. Everyone communicates a message.
Absolutely.
And the question is, are they aware? Do they know what message they communicate? Are they happy about that message?
Hmm. I love that. So for our listeners and our viewers, one thing that just jumped into my mind then, Yulia, was some people will say, okay, cool, I get that. So you want to be very specific and strategic about the message you want to communicate. What might be a message? So if I was, and let me have a go at this just from my perspective. So when I walk into a room as a presenter, you and I were at Mega Success recently. And so as a presenter, I want to be seen as, I guess, confident, um, knowledgeable, engaging. Our values are energy, engagement, and enterprise thinking. So I suppose that's how I want to be seen. I want to be seen as energetic, engaging, and then and very sort of knowledgeable about business. Like, is that the sort of message that I could dress to achieve, or is it deeper than that?
I think that is definitely where you would want to go. So I think that's exactly, it's something that from within yourself, how you feel about it, right? So you're knowledgeable, so you know what you're talking about, so you're confident, right? So all of these things about yourself that you want people to kind of feel and see already. And of course, it it's a combination of how you present yourself. So like what you wear, your grooming, your posture, your speech, right? How you speak, how you stand, do you walk, are you standing tall or are you standing short, or are you fast, are you slow? All of these aspects, right? So it's not just what you wear, but it's how do you walk in there? How do you look around? How do you First of all, it's how you feel about yourself. Because when I work with clients, um, the way I do it, I don't like superficial stuff. It's not my thing. I really, when I do it, it's kind of like the inner change. And although it's about the outside, but it's the inner change, because the inner change is what makes the outer change visible. Like I said to you last time, you can have a great suit, you can have a great outfit, but if you don't have it on the inside, whatever the things that you want to communicate, right? People still will overlook. They may notice your great suit, they may notice your beautiful dress. They may say to you, "Oh, what a beautiful dress." And instead of like, "Oh, you look great in this dress," or like, "Oh, great suit," you know, the suit gets the attention, not you. So, yeah, yeah, if that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. What I heard then was you're going to work on the whole presence, not just the clothes presence.
Yes.
And that's the
Yeah, I always say that I style them from within. Like I style the version from within, and then that version that I keep on styling, slowly starts to expand outside themselves.
great. I remember it. You said you style from within. I remember that.
Mhm.
That sung for me because you talk about the style of psychology, or the psychology of styling, or the psychology of, I guess, the way that we present. And I love that. I love that you do it from within. What's that? What does that really mean? Like for our listeners out there who go, that's a bit cosmic. What do you mean you style from within?
Well, I wonder what is cosmic about it. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It's like, well, like as in, no, I understand, but I'm always like, okay, well, like I think I've said it earlier. You can have a great suit, you
Mhm,
can have a great outfit, like as in you can go into a store
mhm.
and people can dress you up. They can give you great clothes, perfect fit. It looks great.
Great ties. How's my tie not?
But yeah, where's your jacket? Where's the jacket?
Great question. Should I have a jacket on even for a podcast?
Well, we can always discuss that.
Okay. What do they say? We'll take that offline. Thank you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that's what I was just saying, right? And same goes for a woman. If she can go into a store and she can buy a beautiful dress and a beautiful outfit, will it make her still stand out when she walks into a room full of successful people, for example, highly successful people? Will she exude what she wants? If she doesn't have that, like, chances are probably not. And probably the dress will even go down in value. I'm sorry to say, but it's just what it is. I've been there myself years ago. I've seen people, I've seen it. I've seen people wearing the most gorgeous things, but when on the inside, they're not as styled. You know. So and I guess the uniqueness about what I do, again, it's because of all the background that I carry with me. It's the show business, is the modeling, the castings, the constant rejection, being on stage from such an early age, being in front of the audience, and being constantly judged for the appearance, for the presence, for my speech, my looks, my the way I walk, the way I talk, everything. So because of that, acting, I understand how all of that incorporating together, and also how with what you wear just changes how you start to behave. And I mean, in acting, it's powerful. It's a prop. The costume. Like, let's say when we did Shakespeare. To get into that Shakespeare kind of role, you put on a costume, and suddenly you are in that. It really helps you to be in that role. Whereas if you just normal, where you're normal you, it's more harder to get in there. So it really does shape you. It changes. Like, same as what you eat, you become, right? You become what you eat. I believe in that. So whatever goes inside you, you become it.
So what I'm hearing then, I get that. Here's a challenge, and this is a tough question.
Bring it on.
I like that. Have
Ready.
you have you ever met someone whose insides are very, very hard to illuminate because you think, they don't have the right value set, or they maybe they're incongruent, or they're low integrity. Like for me, what you're saying is you style from the inside out, but what that sort of the presuppositions are presupposes that there's a beautiful body, a spirit inside that's ready to be brought out. Does
Right.
that mean you got to do a bit of work on yourself first as well, like just to make sure that you are congruent?
Absolutely. Especially for me to begin with. I mean, how I work and with whom I work, because I don't work just with anyone. Okay. We have to be aligned to work together. I always say, and I say that to both men and women, I truly believe that real beauty comes from deep inside, like from within. No matter what, it's the real beauty, the smile, the kindness, the courage, brave, honesty, compassion. These are the principles that I live by myself. The values, the principles. And I, of course, so when you work with me, everything it stems from the foundation of those values and goes beyond. That's what I mean by style from within, right? So it's it's that version on the inside. And so you definitely, I mean, again, eh, styling is the most personal thing that there is. Okay, it's very personal because it brings up a lot of insecurities, it brings up a lot of problems. Like the book I wrote, I had calls with clients, and some clients, they had a moment of thinking about something that they have never, that no one ever said it to them, no one even mentioned to them. So to give an example, I mentioned about a great smile. Like, look, if your teeth are not up to par, like, it's something you can fix. I did that, and I give examples as well, like, so whatever you can fix, and I'm not talking about like plastic surgery, Botox, no, just talking about like little changes, like, grooming yourself, do your teeth, make sure your teeth are healthy and just all right. It will make a whole change. And so, but that's something that it's very personal. And so this client, she's like, oh, she has been thinking about that, but, you know, and then again, also as well, I think it's important. People need to be ready which means you have to have that level of openness, willingness, confidence. Like, even if you're not confident, but you should have confidence in the person you want to work with, that, hey, they know, and trust. It's all based on trust, because I cannot come up with my services to tell someone, hey, shall I like help you out? And they'll be like, what do you mean? Like, I'm perfect. So, again, people have to be ready for it, right? People have to be ready to understand that they want to level up, and they have to understand the power of presence and how they can level up with that. I don't work with everyone. I recently had to, well, I decided to let go of a client again, because the client is not ready. Like, when they start to, like, they have to be willing and open. Like, they want to change, but it's not enough. Like, you have to, like, do whatever it takes for the change. And so, and if they're not ready yet, then that's fine. That's absolutely fine, right? It's or maybe, we're not aligned. So.
And maybe we can work together when you are ready.
Exactly. It's really, really important. I went through this journey. So many people that I know went through this journey. It goes as well with business, right? I mean, we have the same business coach. Like, if you are right with him, if you are sort of like putting up walls, there's no point in doing that. There's no point in even working together with him, because he's like, he has to penetrate. If he cannot penetrate through you, there's no point in, like, you're wasting your time, everyone's time, your money. And so for me, the same when it comes to that, when it comes to what I know, what I do. If people are not open, they want to, but they're not open to really fully embrace the changes. There's no point in working together.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yuli. I love it. I always say to clients, are you interested or are you committed? Like,
Sorry.
are you interested or are you committed?
Exactly.
It's that
It's
level
the
of,
it's the curious from the serious, right?
I like it. Curious or serious. I love that. I love that. So, just quickly, you've been in showbiz since you were 6. That's off tap. That's crazy. Who influenced you? Who, did you have like a favorite actor or actress or singer, or like, how did you do this thing at 6?
I think I had a few, back in the day, back when I was, in that early stages of my life. I had a few singers that, you know, um, that I watched and liked. I was born in the 90s, right? In the 90s, so there were quite a few artists back then that were definitely inspiring me. Um, yeah. So I've had a few people who inspired me for sure.
Cool. Um, and from an influence perspective, what can what can styling from the inside out do for your influence? So for everyone listening, obviously we're doing the Find Your Influence podcast, and we help people have that positive effect on the behavior, the character, or the development of another human, or a system or a business. So what can you influence with your clothes? You can influence decisions.
I think if I understand your question correctly, as an influencer already, as in, right? Like, as in, that's what you're asking. If you're already an influencer, and then if you level up or style, right? What can it do
Yeah.
with what you already are doing? Is that correct? Am I understanding it correct?
What if you're not an influencer already? What if you're just someone who wants to make an impact, to be influential, so use their style from the inside or the outside, to be able to
Right.
affect or impact someone.
Yeah. Well, so again, it's always about what is your goal, right? So, and let's say you want to influence, you want to help people. It depends on what field it is, right? What is it that you do? If it's this field, that field, this genre, it all depends on that. And then, yeah, it will impact everything. It will impact everything, because you will start to become the authority. You will become the authority in what it is that you want to help people with, because they will look at you. So let's say this, okay? Let's say as an example, okay? Visually, I think it's really helpful. Let's say you want to play a part. You're playing, I don't know, like this Godfather. So if you're dressed as a Godfather and you behave like him, right? And then people will believe you. They're like, you will definitely, right? They'll be like, oh yeah, you're like a bit of, better be careful with you. Whether if you're dressed up as completely someone else, like a farmer, just as an example, or like a bread maker, and you're trying to play the Godfather, like it's not gonna work. People will not believe you. People will just like, even if what you say maybe they will just say something that will, this is like a wall. Okay, so I don't know if that helps, but
No, it does. Thank you. Could that perfect, like nailed it. What it does is it gives you authority and it makes you the authority. But not only that, it makes you believable. When you're believable, people trust what you're saying.
exactly.
We do business with people that we know, like, and trust.
That's right.
So there's this element of having a presence that's done. Oh, I get it, and I think our listeners and viewers would get that. Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Welcome.
Now, in saying all that, who's the customer, the client that you're most proud of, that you are able to take on a journey from curious to serious? Like, I'd love to know what you do to influence people. So, like you've got like you say, this is very personal. How do you get someone to change their styling or their wardrobe or put a coat on, for example?
I think every client has a different journey. And I mean, also, they are of different levels. And let's say for someone who is extremely, extremely successful on a global scale, things are very simple for them. So it's almost sometimes like with a little change, like a tweak, because they are already at a particular level, like at the top level of you can think of. So it's just sometimes fine tuning the little change, or just like something that I inspire them with, that help them to the little changes. They make a big difference. Like I recently had a client who's also becoming a friend of mine. She's a powerful woman. She's the CEO of a skin brand, and that is global. And I kind of saw something, because I get to know people first, like in the best way I can. I get to know them to understand what they are, where they go, and I use my own kind of tools, my sort of creative feeling, and like I don't work by like specific formulas or things like that. I just look at them and I'm like, I just sense intuitively, like, okay, like I'm an artist in that sense, like really an artist. So I just see a picture. And I said to her, if we do this with your hair, we do this different, like with this change, that will give you what you need to get to the level that you want to get to, that next level. She's already at the high level, but she needed something. And, eventually she's like, you know what? Even her hairdresser, she has her own hairdresser. He didn't want to touch her hair. He didn't want to do it. And then she's like, she trusted me. She's like, you know what? I'll do it. So she flew over to London from where she's at, and she flew over and she's like, let's do it. So we did that. And unfortunately, the hairdresser that I work with, he was a bit careful, because this again is like they have to carry out a vision that I have. And it's not 100% yet, because we still have to do like a second time to like finalize the vision, because people are scared for change. I am not scared, because I know what I see. I already know what's going to look like. But people have to sometimes slowly trust into the process. And she did that. They did that. And she said, she said, like, things change. Like her energy changes, how she puts herself out changes, her meetings, the deals she closed, new clients, new partnerships. She said like that kind of energy that just like shifted in her, just puts her into a different direction. And that's really like the power. And it can be like, in a way, I see it as a small change, but of course for a woman, her hairstyle is a big change, but it can really change so much. Yeah. So It's one of the example. I mean, it's one of the examples. There's so many examples, but I do not have the time for to provide my example.
That's the best example. I
Thank
love it.
you.
I love what you said, that you can look at someone and you just get this image, this picture. You just see like it's art. That's nearly like this whole, whispering thing, like a horse but a closed whisperer sort of thing. Right?
Well, I just paint a picture in my mind, you know. But I do that with everything, you know, when I cook food, I create dishes in my mind that I've never tasted. I've never put the ingredients together. So I just kind of like see them in my mind and I'm like, I put them together and then I do it and then it comes out amazingly delicious. And I'm like, this is so good. And I never write down the recipe. I don't like recipes, so I forget the dish. But then I create a new one.
Good on you, Yulia. How cool. Team, you're listening to
So,
Yulia Seijkens, who's a stylist and a styling from the inside out, wrote the book Style to Influence. And it's just been an amazing conversation just to really unpack what it means to change your presence, to change your energy based on either small tweaks or big tweaks, whether it's inside or outside. Yulia, from a leadership perspective, have you got a big team? Have you got a few people that could you ever train this skill for someone else?
well, it's something that I have in mind, as in, you know, obviously if I grow bigger and things like that, you know, depending on how my life gonna shift or move, but I would like to be able to, but again, whether that's doable, um, it really depends. I would have to meet someone. I would have to meet someone in life, just, you know, like when you they'll look for something, but you meet someone and they have the quality, the capability. There's a possibility I could do that, but I don't know. It's tricky because I know I am the way I am and there's only one of me. So I don't know. So yeah. I'll probably would have to like raise my fear, like my fees even higher. You know, like if I would get really busy, then, you know, like
That's not a bad thing.
it's not a bad thing, you know. So, but
That-
we are, you know, work in progress.
That's right. It's a bad thing for your clients, but it's not a bad thing for you.
Yes, you know. So, but I guess, you know, I guess in that case, it's something that, you know, a lot of people do that once they don't have the time and the capacity to work one on one a lot. Well, this is one of the reasons I've created the book, right? So it can give people kind of a quick guideline. But then I'm doing some speaking engagements here in London, you know, doing like private members clubs events, you know, where there's like an intimate group of people coming together and I kind of will help them, you know. So yeah, so who knows, right? Like how things will progress. But so you can ask me one more question, then I have to run to my next
Okay.
appointment.
All
So
right.
one question in closing.
One more question.
Yeah.
If you were me and you had a podcast like this, who would you recommend that I get on next that you know?
Um, what, what do you mean? Like as in your podcast, the things you
Yeah.
should do to,
Yeah. The last question we always ask is who would you recommend that I speak to next?
oh gosh, I would
I'll
have to
email,
think about that.
email you. I'll email you. Thank you thank you so much. You got to go, team. You've been listening to Yulia. Yulia is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being on your phone in a beautiful little Christmassy place there over in London, and thank you for listening or viewing our Find Your Influence podcast with Anton Guinea. Another great chat. Please be one of the 10% of people who follow and subscribe and like our videos so that you can get more of them and you can hear more of our amazing conversations, the conversations that I get to have and that I get to share.